Good morning. This is Coach Tina, and we are redoing Weekly Wednesday Wisdom because technology has not been on my side lately. Have you ever felt like that? Like technology is making you fail? I sure hope not. But sometimes I like to think that the powers of darkness might be messing with the internet, the software, all the things, right? And I kind of celebrate it because it means that I'm that much closer to a really strong answer. And what I mean by that is if I was doing nothing and I wasn't making a difference and there wasn't power behind my presentation, then nothing would mess with me. But because I'm trying to put good stuff out, I think the devil gets into it and just is kind of like, let me see what I can mess up. And the hope is he's going to discourage me. I'm going to not want to do it. I'm going to give up. But nope, that's not my MO. So if you don't know me, I am Coach Tina. I am a certified ULA life coach, the founder of the Empowering Champions community. And I am someone who likes to do lives because my teacher background is such that anything that I have learned, I want to share. And so this presentation, Weekly Wednesday Wisdom, is called Be Still. And it was actually supposed to be last Wednesday's, not like yesterday's video, but the Wednesday before. And I had just come back from vacation. Before I even left, I had decided, well, no, while I was on vacation, I had decided the theme was going to be still. Because after my vacation, it just gave me so much energy to not be doing anything, to be still in my life. You know, we'd been taking little short vacations, weekends, running here, running there, and I wasn't getting the full benefit of just when you unplug and you release for a long time. And we were gone for almost 2 weeks. And in that time process, we really decompressed. And because we were in Canada, we were up in northern BC at my parents' place. And because they didn't have very strong internet connection or mobile, I wasn't on my phone very much. In fact, there was one place in the cabin that we could go to that would potentially bring in messages. And I didn't even notice it sometimes. I wasn't carrying around my phone that much, or if I went over to try to see, you know, I didn't even notice when I had messages. So I was living in a really calm existence. And other than a water heater going out in one of my rental properties that I did have to respond to and take care of, which thankfully everything worked for that, I didn't push myself to really do a lot of online stuff. And I had accepted this before I even went, that in case I didn't have internet, not knowing how strong my dad's signal would be or anything, I pre-recorded some videos and I just let myself relax. Now, as someone who has been working in the Empowering Champions group for well over a year, that was a huge release. I have felt like I had to be there every moment and post all these messages and get out, get out, get out. And so it brought me a little bit of serenity and just moments, right? So I got back in town, got ready for my challenge, and I was so hyper-focused on my challenge that started on Wednesday, I completely forgot to do the Weekly Wednesday Wisdom. Now, this is the first for a really long time for me, so I was just like blown away that that had happened. But I was also blown away by my response because I didn't go, oh no, what am I going to do? And feel bad about myself and, you know, try to fix it. Instead, I just went, okay, it happened. Not the end of the world. I can do it again. I kept the same theme, and my plan was to do it yesterday. So we actually did Weekly Wednesday Wisdom. And some of you may have seen the seemed like 20-second video that started. And because I thought that everything was good, because when I'm in Zoom, I feed it into the Facebook feed, and then I get a message that we're live and all is good. So that's what happened. I had a little bit of a glitch where I lost Zoom altogether. And then people started coming on the call and I thought everything was fine. It was just a glitch on my side. And then I got distracted. And so I didn't go onto the feed to post it up. And so I did the whole live. We had a wonderful group. We had Sarah from North Dakota and Candace from Ontario. we chatted. They shared the things going on in their life, just like we're supposed to do on Weekly Wednesday Wisdom. The whole point of Weekly Wednesday Wisdom is for us to pause for a moment and remember the things that we've been doing in the last week that we are learning from, and sharing that out into our community in case there's something of interest for other people. Maybe there's an activity or an event that's going on, and this is our place to broadcast that. We talked about all that yesterday, and I'm so sorry you missed it because it was really a great session. But I will highlight some of the things that I covered on the Be Still. So, of course, that's a scripture verse. It's Psalm 46. And I love it because I don't memorize scripture very much, and that's one that I can memorize, right? But it also comes with a concept that when we are just overwhelmed, we can rest, we can relax, we can be still. Of course, meditation comes to mind, but the actual word still in Hebrew is rapha, and it means to surrender or to be weak and let go. Like if you were hanging onto a rope and you were just, it's mine, 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 mine. It's finally going, you know what? It's okay. And just letting it slip from your hands, releasing the pressure of all of that and letting it go. Kind of like when I was on vacation. I just let go. Because we really don't have a lot of control over things. And what came to mind was still water, right? Like when we're get that opportunity to be in a place where there's just, excuse me, the calmest of water. That's a beautiful, serene place to be. I love it when the ocean just does that little bit of a lap, or like when you're at a lake and you can just hear the water rolling in, just the kindest presentation. And the wind sometimes can be very gentle, but we all know the corollary to that, right? When the waters are rough, or when the wind is howling or beating against your house, moving your car around. It's an invisible force, but yet so powerful, so strong, right? It made me think of a hummingbird. With the frenzy of the hummingbird wings, the hummingbird is so beautiful and so fun to watch. But my favorite moment with a hummingbird is when you see them light on the bird feeder or on a little branch, and they just take that moment and they calm, and you can see the glistening on their feathers, and the chaos is just at peace. And I know they need that rest. They're so high energy and strong and absolutely beautiful at rest. I think of that when I need to quiet my mind. Am I being the hummingbird, or am I taking that moment to just treasure what is? And so meditation is hard for me sometimes. I am a thinker, and meditation requires you to not think, to have a space in your mind that doesn't have anything in it, to release the monkey mind, right? And so meditation is a practice. It's something that you have to work on in order to bring that stillness within, that space. I recently, or for a long time, I have had issues with autoimmune, and it is presenting itself as a rash. So my body gets itchy, and then it settles in my ankles, and my ankles just, I have to tear at them. They inflame, and it's just a rotten cycle that happens. And so I've been working with doctors. I've been trying to do it without medicine, trying to change diet, trying to do all those things. And somebody on a group that I'm in, I think it was the mastermind group, posted about having a similar issue, and she got lots of great responses. I was so surprised that I didn't think to just ask randomly out into a large group, right? And she got probably like 80 responses. And as I was reading through them, I was so surprised because a lot of them dealt with meditation as a healing tool, and Joe Dispenza in particular. And I had not heard of Joe Dispenza except for someone had mentioned them, a person that I had recently started working with. And so I went, wow, whenever I hear double, that's a sign for me. And that means that I need to pay attention, whether it's my brain on fire or, where I need to focus or something, but I start to light up. And so I started listening to Joe Dispenza, and almost immediately my rash went away. My ankles healed, and I hadn't had that in a long time. And so I have been trying to do some Joe Dispenza about once a week. Random itching is coming into play. I'm doing some extra work with tapping, but I am seeing results that I haven't seen yet, and I'm pretty excited about that change. The other synchronicity that's been happening has to do with the name Be Still, by the way. It came up in my vacation planning, like I told you, and then one of our members, Greer Summer, who hails from Florida, was mentioning to me, well, actually, we've been chatting, talking in conversation, and of course, Facebook likes it when we talk, and it presents me with more of your feed. And when it does that, her book came up. And so she has a book of poetry called An Infinite Web. And whenever I hear that you guys have something going on, I like to be a part of it. I like to go buy that book. I like to try to reach into your presentations, try to join your groups. I'm busy, so I don't get to all of them, but I do my best. And so I was reading Greer's book, and one of her poems is called Be Still. And, synchronicity, that timing, that all the things working together really start to align, and I pay attention. So one of the lines that she had is beautiful, a book of poetry about her time in the Pacific Northwest. And she talked about the peace and the pulse, that being still and like resting into the meditation and allowing it to take you to a place where you can be still. So I did want to share a little bit about our Canada vacation. It was so glorious, you guys. And I'm mad at myself because I took these great pictures and I haven't had the time to share them online because I've been working on other things, right? It wasn't that my vacation was not a benefit. It wasn't that I don't want to share. It's just that I haven't had the time. So I'm working on, where are my priorities? Where do I get to do that so that I can have that gentle reminder of all the wonderful things that we shared? But we went into Vancouver on the ferry. Actually, we went into Horseshoe Bay, a section a little bit north of Vancouver. And then we drove up to my parents' place. We put 40 hours in the car, the rental that we had. And that was mostly going to and coming back from my dad's place. Very little outside jaunts once we got there. But everywhere we looked, there was water. There were lakes. It was just this beautiful, from the glaciers melting and coming down into the US, basically that whole pathway. There were just these pockets of beautiful water. There were waterfalls. There were rivers. I just can't tell you how beautiful the scenery was. And we pulled over many, many times. And then we enjoyed that experience. Even though it was a long drive, it gave my husband and I time together in the car to talk those things out that we hadn't been thinking about for a while. And we really decompressed. When we got there, we were ready to just enjoy our time. It was a time with family, which was incredible, but it was a memorial for my brother's passing, our time of loss with him. So it was mixed with the excitement of seeing my family, but yet the loss of dealing with the first time we'd had time together since his death. Because my parents are so far north and they're older and the whole COVID thing, they just couldn't get to Doug, my brother's Phoenix is where he lived, get to his place, see his widow and all of that stuff. And so our whole family was just kind of fractured during this. And we didn't get that be still moment together where you just remember. And so that was our time. And it was a time of sadness as well, because my dad's cabin, it's been in our family for over 20 years now. Beautiful, beautiful place. I visited only a handful of times because of how remote it is. But every time it's just these wonderful memories with my kids when they were young. the experiences we have when we're there. And it's literally like you're in a time capsule when you're there, because time just stops and you don't have any outside pressures and you just have this beautiful, beautiful time period. And so they have had it on the market now for a couple of years. And this is the first time we've been up since it's been on the market. And one of the reasons why I wanted to go so much was for the last couple of years, it's been, what if it sells before we get to see it? What if it sells before we get to see it? Worry. And then when we got there, I kept thinking, what if this is the last time I get to see it? Because it might sell before we get to come up again. And so it was this balancing, this acceptance of life moving on. I mean, my parents are older. They do not need this beautiful 300 acres in northern Canada anymore. They need to be in the States with access to healthcare, with access to our family. But in the be still, right, I was allowing myself to release what I can't control, release that it's time to move on, just let go of the process. And so I allowed myself to rest and to remember that when I want something really bad, that I don't get to control it even if I want it that much. And coming back into the group and recognizing, I'm so on fire for my Life Academy and how I want to bring it out into the world, and I want to share, and I want everybody to benefit, and I want to do this and I want to do that. And it's that taking that moment of rest and letting God show up, releasing the vision he's given me, the thoughts that he has put in my mind that I am meant to put into action, and letting him do the heavy work. Let him lift the load. They say that you want to be equally yoked. When I yoke myself to him, he carries all the weight. And so whatever you're struggling with, whatever your be still requirement is right now, I hope that you are getting relief, that you are finding a way to let go and release and to allow your life to be what it's meant to be. So that is what you missed. That is the message that I have been trying to get out, and the message that I will be posting and putting up for you to have access to. And it's going to work because technology does not control me. I am in charge of my world, and it's going to be a great day. I hope you guys have a really blessed week, and we will talk really soon.